Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about what is up with cosmetic tattooing. If you saw my video last week, you'll know that I'm going to be taking training classes to become a certified cosmetic tattoo artist myself very soon. I'm honestly just so excited and I can't think or focus on anything else. So today I just wanted to sit down and talk everything cosmetic tattooing with you all. Cosmetic tattooing has come an incredibly long way since its initial boom in the 90s when they were doing our aunties so dirty with these brows, lips, and eyeliner. They really gave this poor woman the trifecta of bad permanent makeup. And even though cosmetic tattooing has completely changed, this is still the image on the permanent makeup Wikipedia page. Front and center, right when you click permanent makeup. You see that. But nowadays, artists are able to create hyper-realistic results that you would never know are tattooed on. So let's get into what is up with cosmetic tattooing. So cosmetic tattooing can be referred to as permanent makeup, PMU, or micropigmentation. And though you often will see it reported as having been developed by dermatologists in the 1980s to address alopecia, in actuality, some of the most prominent tattoo artists of the early 1900s were experimenting with this tattoo style. The very first documented instance of cosmetic tattooing was in 1901 by a famous UK-based tattoo artist, Sutherland MacDonald, and he did, quote, "delicate pink complexion on the cheeks." And I'm assuming they mean the face, but you never know. You never know. So dermatologists got their little scalpels on permanent makeup in the 1980s, and they did treat patients with alopecia and then moved on to replicating makeup. And these dermatologists treated cosmetic tattooing like it was heart surgery. As you can see from this old New York Times article that was published in 1984, and this woman is fully in surgery to get eyeliner tattooed on her. So by the 90s and the early 2000s, cosmetic tattooing was not much different from any other tattoo. And technicians were using the same inks, the same machines. They were just replicating makeup instead of tattooing designs. And these tattoos were permanent, or they're supposed to be permanent. And that's where the term permanent makeup, or PMU, comes from. And these old tattooed brows ended up being pretty blurry over time and sometimes even turned blue or green. And just a few days ago, this Instagram story popped up on my feed. So this is from Instagram user Jessie_loft_. And what she's showing is an image of 20-year-old tattooed brows that are pretty blurry and super blue. And she explained some things to consider if you're looking to get something like this covered up. So if you're interested in that, you can pause to read it, but I just wanted to show you guys what those old 90s or early 2000s brows look like now. And keep in mind that this is absolutely not how eyebrows that are done professionally today will look like when they're healed. We've come a long way from this. So the goal of actual permanent tattooing is to input the ink into the dermis layer so that it stays permanent for as long as possible. But with cosmetic tattooing nowadays, there have been a lot more inks developed that are more opaque. And the ink is not meant to go into the dermis layer of the skin. It's supposed to stay in the epidermis layer, which is right above the dermis. So when it's placed into that first layer, this allows the ink to really gradually fade away in about 1 to 2 years' time. A New York-based PMU artist, Bethany Wolosky, was interviewed by Fashionista magazine where she explained, quote, "Microblading is different than traditional eyebrow tattooing in that it is done using iron oxide-based pigments that are implanted more superficially in the skin, which makes it semi-permanent." So let's go over the various cosmetic tattooing services that are offered today. So first we have eyebrows, and eyebrows are definitely number one when it comes to most popular cosmetic tattooing service. And there's a variety of different ways you can get your eyebrows done, depending on how you want the results to look. So there's microblading, and microblading is a small tool that has a line of needles that are stacked together to form what looks like a blade, and that is pressed on the skin in order to create a very thin, very realistic hair-like stroke. Nano blading and nano shading are newer techniques for the eyebrows, and this involves using a machine to create those same hair-like strokes, and also using a machine that is able to create some dimension in the brow. And then there is powder brows. So powder brows is sometimes called ombre brows. This is also done using a machine, but you're not attempting to do hair-like strokes, and this creates more of like a makeup-y look. People who have oily skin tend to not take microblading or nanoblading that well, so powder brows are recommended for people who have oily skin. Next, we have the lips, and this is usually referred to as lip blush or lip tint. And I think these names are in order to tell people like how different this is than tattooed lips of the past. Tattooed lips of the past were very bold, not that cute, the colors weren't great, but nowadays lip blush and lip tint look super natural, and it just enhances the color of your lips. I personally think lip blushing looks really, really great when it's done well. And this is also a great option for people who have little to no pigment in their lips, or if they have hyperpigmentation on their lips. You can get color correction services done on your lips in order to create a really, really natural looking lip. When people do get their lips tattooed, oftentimes this makes the lips look fuller because there is quite a bit of swelling due to the sensitivity of the lips, and this kind of mimics lip injections. And you can go outside the lines of your lips a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to go too crazy with this. One thing to note, though, is that the lips don't retain ink as well as the rest of the face. So clients often will need regular touch-ups, and most of the time this is included in the original lip blush appointment. Kind of just depends on who you go to, though. Next, we have eyeliner, and sometimes this is referred to as a lash line enhancement. So this essentially just mimics eyeliner, and it can be pretty much anything the client wants, as long as you don't go into the waterline. If you're going into the waterline, that's an absolute no-no. That will never come out. That's really bad. So definitely make sure you're going to someone who's done this before, knows what they're doing. You don't necessarily need to go to a surgeon, but just someone who will not mess you up. Most commonly, eyeliner is just a thin line at the base of the lashes, and it makes your lashes appear a lot more fuller if you're not wearing any makeup. Eyeliner tattoos are really good for people who can't physically put on their own eyeliner because of health or medical reasons, or individuals who have issues with their eyeliner smudging all the time. Tattooed eyeliner is a great solution for that. Next, we have faux freckles. These are exactly what you think they are, just freckles tattooed on. Some artists won't do these because they reportedly fade uneven depending on where the freckle is tattooed on the face. But most artists will say that freckles are uneven anyway, so it doesn't matter. I think these are really cute. You can get them done by stick and poke, you can get them done with a machine. Kind of just depends on the clients and what results they're looking for. In the end of the day, with all of the cosmetic tattooing that we're talking about today, sun is your worst enemy. Sun exposure is just going to make your tattoos fade faster. And with freckle tattoos, you're usually getting them on the places where the sun directly hits. So that can be something just to keep in mind. Sometimes these freckles will fade a bit faster if you're leaving them out in the sun with no protection. But that's kind of like with every cosmetic tattoo. Next, we have scar camouflage. This is a process of tattooing skin pigments into scars in order to completely camouflage them. Most commonly, this is used to treat mastectomy scars, but you can use it on acne scars, stretch marks, really any scar on the body that is lighter than the individual's complexion. So unfortunately, scar camouflage cannot be used on red, purple, or brown scars, and it can also not be used on keloid scars. You do need to make sure that the scar is completely healed before you do any sort of camouflage as well. So at least 1 full year of the scar completely healed before you can tattoo that area. When done properly, scar camouflage has incredible results. And scar camouflage can actually last a lot longer than the other services that we're talking about today because scar tissue is often thicker and there's no sweat glands in the scar tissue. So oftentimes scar camouflage can last a few years before you even need a touch-up if you are protecting your skin from the sun. If you get scar camouflage, this is definitely more of an involved process and you would have to go for some consultation as everyone's scars are different. And your tattoo artist needs to essentially custom mix a pigment that will perfectly match your skin tone. But when this is done right, like I said, it's really incredible results. Next, we have Areola Reconstruction. So this one is particularly powerful for women who have undergone mastectomies and have had to have their nipples removed. This is also a great option for transgender individuals who have had top surgery to correct anything that might need correction. You can essentially tattoo a hyper-realistic nipple onto the skin or alter what might be there. I can't show any images of this because of content guidelines, but there are so many incredibly talented artists that are creating hyper-realistic results for their clients. And like I said, this is a really empowering part of permanent makeup. The last service I wanted to talk about today is hairline alterations. This is usually referred to as scalp micropigmentation, and this is used to alter or mimic or change or fill in a hairline. This is usually done with tiny little dots, just a bunch of tiny little dots to mimic what a hairline would look like. Usually this is a service that men tend to get, but none of these services are gendered. Anyone of any gender can get any permanent makeup procedure they would like. So that is definitely most, if not all, of the permanent makeup services that are offered. But there are a lot of developments going on in the world of cosmetic tattooing, so there likely will be more services offered in the future. Cosmetic tattooing is definitely going through a huge resurgence at the moment, and it's only getting better with time. However, since there is such a demand for cosmetic tattooing, this has caused some artists to jump in a little prematurely. If you go searching online, it really won't take you that long to find some pretty bad results. And this unfortunately happens when tattoo artists are not skilled enough or have not had enough training yet in the services that they're providing. So this is why it's really important to research who you're going to ahead of time and put a lot of time and make sure it's an investment with the people that you choose. Because cosmetic tattooing is so delicate and precise, you really want to make sure you're going to someone that will take the time and the care to give you the results that you want. But if you did get a really bad cosmetic tattoo, you're not entirely out of luck. I recently heard about this process called Saline Removal, and this is also a cosmetic tattoo service. So saline removal is the process of going over the tattooed area with a saline solution in order to fade the ink a lot faster. And this can be used as an emergency removal option within the first 48 hours of your cosmetic tattoo session if you just absolutely hate it. Otherwise, it needs to be done once the area has completely healed in 6 to 8 weeks. I've seen some really impressive results with saline removal. This can also be done to remove super old, bad cosmetic tattoos from the 90s. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. This is definitely a very new process. Like saline removal, there are so many developments happening in the world of cosmetic tattooing, and I'm just excited to jump in myself and start training and really see what this is all about. Of course, share with you what I learn along the way. If you're interested in my journey, I will be posting weekly updates once I do start my classes in late July. So definitely feel free to subscribe if you would like to keep up with me on that. But that is all I have for you guys today on what is up with cosmetic tattooing. Let me know what you think about cosmetic tattooing. Is this something you would ever get? Have you gotten cosmetic tattooing? Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know in the comments down below. But if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you have, leave me this emoji in the comments so that I know that you are a real one. Bye everyone.